Yo, so we are in the Tassie, baby. Shout out Elon Musk. I'm going to do a lot more long form content. I'm going to post it on Spotify, on YouTube, giving you insights into my life and give you a lot of the frameworks, the tools that I use to help our guys and girls get into world-class shape and obviously improve their mindset. I'm going to take you through some degen stories along the way that I maybe forgot to tell, and I am going to take you on the ride with me. We've got some traveling coming up in the next year, so I want to document the traveling too. I want to document my life a lot more instead of just talking about random topics every Monday. So we're going to do a Q&A today, maybe a bit of a story time. So go, first question.
Okay, so I just feel like you haven't really spoke about the period of time between pilot school and then obviously doing your coaching course. Like, I feel like I don't even know like how long that was or like
Use the mic because
testing 1 2.
Yeah, you don't need to hold it really close. It's fine. All right, Q&A, go.
Like
don't put on your posh accent. Your real accent's fine for today.
Excuse me.
Go on.
If any more of that, any more of that, I'll not be fucking doing it.
Little girls should be seen and not heard.
Well then, don't ask me to ask you questions. Can we stop the shop as well?
Yes, go.
Okay. So I feel like you haven't really spoke a lot about the period of time between pilot school and then obviously like starting your coaching course. So like talk us through the period of time between that and like what you did, because I know obviously you've spoke about like buying and selling shoes, but you haven't really went into detail, and I feel like I don't even know that. So
yeah, okay, fair. So I didn't buy and sell shoes for long at all. Like that was actually my brother that done that. So that was only a short period of time. But let me clip this into my. There we go. So I finished. So pilot school, I left in March 2020, and obviously that was fucking COVID period. And in November 2019, obviously I tried to take my life. Gosh, hard and heavy straight off the bat. Wasn't very good at it. Was not my forte, thank God. And through that period, from November 2019 onwards, I stopped drinking. I wanted to understand why I thought the way I thought, what led me to a difficult place, and I wanted to get a much deeper understanding of psychology, and so that I could avoid getting to that place again. So I stopped drinking. I was heavy into my training, and then obviously COVID hit, and the lack of socializing, it actually had a really big impact on me. So for 4 or 5 months, I was actually improving so much. I was reintegrating back into society. I was going to bars sober, and I actually came on such a long way in maybe just 5 months. And then we went into COVID. So obviously left flight school, hit COVID, and I wasn't even worried about the prospect of my career. I wasn't even worried about job prospects. I wasn't even thinking like that. I just I don't think anybody was during.
What were you thinking of it? Like what was in your head? Work in your head at all?
No, my career was not in my head at all, because at the time I was only focused on getting so far away from where I was previously, as in the dark place that I was in previously. I was so focused on just never going back there. So I suppose I was taking it every single day, and that's for anybody that's going through a tough time in life, or even just if you're going through a stressful time. Just to focus on the day ahead of you, just to focus on the next decision, the next 8 hours, and look at your next meal, look at your next training session. I think it's very easy to look too far ahead, and when I went to a therapist, he said that to me. Don't suffer imagined troubles. Don't try and have your life sorted out a year ahead of time.
Wait, I have another question.
Yeah.
Do you think therapy, do you believe in therapy?
Do I believe in therapy?
Yeah, do you think it's a positive, or do you think that it's a waste of time?
That's a big curveball. That's a big tangent.
Sorry,
you're going to put me on.
I just need to ask that.
She said, do I think therapy is a waste of time? No, I don't believe it is. I feel like there's definitely therapists out there I feel like there's a lot of therapists out there that can actually enable worse behaviour. It can enable people to worsen the quality of their life, and can enable people into victim mentality. I also believe that some therapists will just roll the dice and throw a story at you in the hope that you'll cling on to it, and put a label on yourself and a reason as to why, like, oh, your uncle bummed you when you were 6, this is why you're fat and don't go to the gym. It's like, you know,
Not based on true events.
not based on true events. Yeah, not for me, probably for you. Your uncle was looking a slice.
Shut up.
Anyway, my uncle did not bum me, by the way, just to clarify. You know, my uncle did not bum me, but my priest did. In fact, actually, my priest was a paedophile, but he didn't bum me, and you know, he bummed all the other kids. And I was like, am I that ugly that he wasn't looking a slice? You know, I think I would have been a little bit flattered, like sore hole, but flattered. Anyway. Do I think therapy? So I think it depends on the therapist, and I think if you don't find it beneficial, then just try another therapist. You know, obviously, you know, there's certain people in the real world that you get on with, and there's other people that you don't. So it's not as if it's an unrealistic expectation for you to feel like you're going to gel with every single person. And I think, like anything in life, the expectation that it's going to work miraculously off the bat, that's the problem. People think therapy is a miracle drug. It's not. And I think, like anything in life, when your expectation does not align with reality, it creates disappointment. So you need to manage expectations and understand that it's just a conversation that you're having with somebody. You're airing your thoughts, and it's just a safe space where you can offload to somebody without feeling burdened. And I think so I you know, I went to one therapist, and and she, like, honestly, I could have said to this person, I'm gonna get 2 AR-15s and go and shoot up my old high school. I honestly think she would have said, that's a great idea, Daniel, like, that's fantastic. She 100% would have agreed with that. I'm feeling like touching kids this weekend. Great shout, really great shout. So you know, I think some people will just agree with you, and I think the thing with therapy is obviously they want you to come to your own conclusions instead of just telling you what you want to hear. But sometimes I like to just be told what to do. But yeah, so is therapy a waste of time? No, but I think the therapy isn't going to change your life. Stopping the things which will hold you back will. And I don't think therapy is just for people that are fucking down and out mentally in the tubes. I feel like that could be for people that want to perform at a higher level. It could be somebody that has limiting beliefs that they want to work through. So yeah, I feel like it's just great because it creates a safe space for you to air your thoughts to people. But I went to one therapist, as I said, man, she wasn't for me, and the second guy was fantastic, but it didn't change my life. It was the things that I done day to day, stopping drinking, stopping taking drugs, you know, taking my training and food more seriously, getting into shape, meditating a lot more, you know, surrounding myself with the right people, finding purpose. All those things actually changed my life. You get me an Avamore, would you? Avamore and Evian, please.
I haven't drank Avamore in years, mate.
I know, but I need a protein hit. Chocolate one, please. Also, if you're ever in Northern Ireland and you're drinking Ballygown water, man, you touch kids. So.
Wait, what? Avonmore in a water?
Yeah, please. Thank you. So back to the story. So yeah, obviously it was going through COVID. You know, my brothers, they were drinking. It was, remember the neck nominate challenges? They were brilliant. But everybody was drinking. You know, on a Friday, obviously sun was shining. I remember in, you know, it was like March, April, May time. Sun was shining. Everybody was outdoors and socially distancing, which was actually the biggest pile of balls I've ever heard in my life. Man, you know, it's crazy when you look back at it, how much of a hold the government had on us. And I'm not to be conspiracy theorist, but I mean, none of them were adhering to it. I actually remember so clearly, my dad was obviously older, and I was like, nah, I don't want my dad to be taken away because I don't want to socially distance. So we all took it so seriously. I was a Nazi about it. And then my dad was taking the dog for a walk all the time in the good weather, and he was away for ages. And then I got a photo sent through one day. It was my dad sitting in a garden with his mate. They were having beers. I'm like, mate, we're all trying to sit in for you. So after that, we were like, fuck that. We went back to normality. But I think if that came about again, nobody would adhere. I think that event alone, I think COVID alone, was the catalyst to people losing trust in the government. I wholeheartedly believe that. And it planted a seed of doubt in people's mind, and I think that's enough. Sometimes a seed of doubt is enough for you to lose trust in people or a government body entirely. So everybody was drinking during lockdown, and obviously I was abstaining because I was a changed man. And my brother would have bought and sold shoes, so he would have had bots, like created these bots or paid for these bots, and obviously he would have maybe, do you remember Jordans, like Nike Jordans? They were obviously the craze at the time, and you would have bought them for retail $150 and sold them for maybe $250, $300, sometimes even more. And yeah, I mean, I had a few successful drops where I made good money. I remember once, it was I can't remember the name. They were like light blue high top Jordans, and I remember making $4,000 profit on them, and I actually thought I made it. I was like, oh my god, it was I was like, give me the Supreme gun, the Supreme money gun. I actually thought I made it. 4Gs. I never made 4Gs in one pop in my life, and I was thinking, oh my god. So I think that was the first time that I actually ever made any money online. And I didn't actually think much of it. Obviously, like after that, the Jordan craze died off, and it became much harder to buy shoes, and that just finished. And then, furthermore from that, a couple of months down the line, so my dad used to have this shop. My dad has, I think it's 40 or 50 shops across Ireland and Scotland and down south, and he had this vacant shop, which this was in Belfast. And like their demographic would be middle-aged to older women, so there was this vacant shop, and any items, she got me a strawberry one, dude, bro, that's a strawberry, bro.
They didn't have any chocolate.
None of the black ones.
It was literally between strawberry and vanilla, and you don't like vanilla.
I'll just raw dog it. I'll leave it.
No, you'll drink it.
No, I won't. I ain't drinking strawberry, mate.
Why?
Because there's a chance that I'm going to shit my pants, and I'm not shitting my pants for a strawberry protein shake.
2 squares bars for before your session later.
Thank you. It's very kind of you. Appreciate it. It's a thought that counts.
Well, I knew you didn't want vanilla because you said vanilla makes you feel sick.
Strawberries ass.
Do you want my banana huel?
No. Okay, close the door, please. Right, let's lock and load.
Wait, I feel like I need to put that in the bin.
Put what in the bin?
All my makeup bust over my thing, and I just put it all in my bag.
Okay, do you want to throw that in the bin as well? Both of them. Thank you.
Bro!
If you're not going to drink it, bin it. Anyway, so I owe you what? Oh, you fuck all. See, people like that are the worst, man. See,
you owe me 59p.
Yeah, like back in the days, I remember you had people that were like, you owe me $2.50 for that. Like, I hate that. Like, see, even going out for dinner, or you're going for lunch, and people are like, oh, can you transfer me that £3? Shut up, man. I think that is the worst trait in a human being. Anyway, so if there's a garment that has a nick on it, or there is there's a stain on the garment for whatever reason, right? Obviously, out of thousands and thousands of pieces, you're gonna have some faulty ones or some faulty items, and these were just in the warehouse gathering dust. So we were like, right, we'll take these and we'll take them and sell them. So we opened this shop and we started selling these garments, and we would have woke up actually this is a Friday, so we would have opened it the weekends. And easy tiger, after you. On a Friday, we would have went to the warehouse, we would have picked which items we think would have performed best. So, like, obviously going into winter, we would have looked for the heavier coats, we would have looked for the darker colours, and we would have picked everything out. We would have had the pricing labels, and then we would have had, obviously, we would have packed everything into the van, drove to Belfast, kitted out the shop, and then we would open doors on a Saturday morning. Well, kitted out on a Thursday, and then Friday and Saturday, Sunday we would have done.
Did it do well?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. I think, I remember it like one of the best. I think the best day we did, I think it was $2,500 in one day. And I was like, damn, we made it, baby. But like, it was all cash. So I remember stacking up all this cash, and I was like, fuck, I'm cooking. And I think I'd saved up at the time. I think I'd saved up 10.5 grand, and it wasn't crazy money, but like I was 21 maybe. And like, man, I was broke beforehand, so I 10 grand, I was like, man, I'm cooking. So I literally just, I was loving it. But obviously we're still in between lockdowns, so we couldn't really do much. And then from there, like, people ask, like, I sometimes explain that, you know, I left pilot school, went straight into coaching, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And for 2 years, I didn't know, and that became the pressure for me. That became the that became the problem, that I was putting so much pressure that I needed to have my life figured out. And it started to get me down. You know, my friends, they were going off to be lawyers, they were going off to do finance, or they were doing big boy jobs, as people call it, and I felt so behind. And obviously I'd worked with a coach before, Ben Heron, and Ben Heron had completely changed my life. You know, he was there for me and instilled belief in me when I was at my worst, and you know, I'd really turned my life around. I was in killer shape. I'd done the transformation which a lot of our guys would go through now, you know, that first real transformation, and that's where your life really changes, that first transformation. You know, you finally look in the mirror and you're like, fuck, I'm actually in great shape. People start complimenting you, and you know, you get a bit of a tan on, and you start really feeling good about yourself, you know. And I thought, wow, like, if this guy, it wasn't, you know, I always say, like, you know, I changed my life, and then I thought, if this guy could do it for me, I could do it for other people. That was like a 2-year process of me coming to the idea. And I suppose I thought, what do I value? I love talking to people. I love communicating. You know, there was always younger, because I got in, like, not, I wouldn't say half decent shape. I was in okay shape. I like younger guys in the gym that would have asked me questions, like literally like 16-year-olds, and I would have loved giving them advice or helping them or just speaking to people in the gym. And I thought, you know, I love helping people in the gym. I love fitness and what it's done for my life. It's completely turned my life around. And you know, the passion that my coach had for changing lives, I loved that. And I thought, do you know what, like, I never wanted to work. I wanted to work for myself always, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do. You know, as I said, you've said it previous podcasts, my mum and dad, they were always there at the sports days, at the you know, the school plays. They were always there, and it was only when I was older I realised just how special that actually was. So I always wanted to work for myself. I always wanted to be able to go away when I wanted to go away and not have to answer to anybody. You know, I didn't want to be someone's bitch. You know, someone's bitch. Hi boss. Oh, can I give you slops for an extra day off? No. Anyway, so yeah, I remember. I actually remember it. I don't remember what day it was, but I just remember sitting on my bed, and I remember thinking, I'm gonna be a coach. I'm gonna start coaching. And I remember I messaged my friend Harley at the time, shout out Blackheart, and I said, I'm gonna be a coach. And he said, you know, I could imagine you doing that. I think you'll do really well at it. And that was that. Then I messaged my coach. I told him what I was going to do, and then within a couple of days, I ended up researching the course that I wanted to do. Now, in between that and actually starting the course, I had to go back to work, because that 10 G's I built up, I'd ended up spunking it. I'd end up like going back into a drinking phase, not drugs, not like partying, just beers at the weekend. And I spunked literally 10 grand one summer. I fucking went on a few holidays, lived it up, and was back to Brokeyville. And yeah, I ended up having to get a job in my mum and dad's coffee shop. And I actually remember that, you know, because I hadn't been socialising like sober, I'd just been out at the weekends drinking. I actually found myself getting like quite socially anxious again. And I actually remember the morning driving to the coffee shop, and I was so uptight. I actually remember wanting to call my mum and say, Mum, I can't go, I can't do it. I'm too anxious. And I didn't do it. I just went. and it was the best thing for me ever. You know, it's like anything in life. When you do something enough, you become so freaking good at it. You know, I was communicating with people day in, day out, greeting them, bringing them to their table, having a crack with these, you know, with women, with men, and with women and men, like older women, you know, like having a crack with them, you know, buttering them up. And when you do something so much, you become a professional at it, and I do wholeheartedly believe. What the fuck's the gym?
I'll tell you where the gym is.
Is it close to your house?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just keep driving straight, don't turn in.
As in
Don't
near the
turn.
Spar?
Yeah, just drive straight past the Spar.
Okay. So, yeah, like I became so proficient in just communicating with people again, which was one of my strengths when I was younger. And if you're in a position where you feel like you can't look people in the eye, or you're not fantastic at communicating, get a job where you're speaking to people all the time, or make a commitment to yourself that I'm going to speak to one person every single day. Like when you go into the shop, look them in the eye, ask them how your day is, and have.
Can you pause that a sec?
No, you can't pause it. It's on the go.
I need to say something.
Is it a question?
No, it's an observation.
If it's something that could be said on camera? So yeah, anyway, I remember saving up, I think it was like 6k, and then I remember paying off in one day. My coach paid off the coaching certificate as well to do that coaching course, and I literally spunked all that in one go. I was back to Brokiesville, but I'd invested in myself. And I think, you know, if you want to get anywhere in life, you need to invest in yourself. You need to learn from people that are ahead of you. You need to shortcut your process. And, you know, if you're out of shape, like, you know, I think sometimes people think it loses credibility if I can gain from that. It's like, no, there's no denying that if you don't know how to get into the shape and you pay somebody that is literally their profession, you will get the result in half the time. And it's more expensive to keep going around in circles for years than it is to pay somebody and get a result in literally months, as opposed to keep doing it for 2 years. It's fucking retarded, mate. And it's something I wish I'd done so much sooner. But anyway, that's life, right? But that's what we do with our guys.
No, keep.
Straight on?
Straight on.
That's fine, I'll just stay in this lane.
But then you're turning right.
Okay, I'll just stay in this lane then. Yeah, so that was that. I remember when I was in the coffee shop, I remember people coming up to me. Like, I actually remember this one bitch, and she said, she's such a shame. I said, what do you mean, babes? And she was like, you've thrown your life away. Sorry, what? It's like, you've thrown your life away to go and do your wee PT thing. And you know, people say your wee, and then they follow up with something like, it's just so condescending. And I actually felt so small. And I actually said, I'm gonna show you, motherfucker. And she was an old woman, but I was like, mate, fuck this bitch. She was like, oh, you've thrown your life away. You know, you had everything. You had everything going for you. You know, you could have became a pilot, and you know, you're just going off to be a wee PT now. And literally said it like that. I was like, dude, I am going to show your ass up. And obviously, you know, gosh, years down the line.
All in this car.
Which one? There's two cars.
The black one.
They're both like kind of
This
black.
one.
Oh my god. Yeah, thank God I decided to go down this path, and you know, things worked out way better than I could have imagined. And I said, you know, what's the lesson here? Choose fulfillment over security. You know, I think there's always a secure option, there's always a safe bet, but the safe bet, is that going to get you the life that you want? And if the answer is no, then maybe the fulfillment that's the answer. And the only reason that you hesitate, the only reason that you'll shy away from doing it, is because it's uncertain, and your brain loves certainty, your brain loves security, but that's not going to get you to live your dream life. So think of the one thing that you're putting off right now. How can you what is the next step you can take to actually action in that? You know, I had a conversation with one of our guys yesterday, and you know, I was like, what's your 10x move? And you know, it kind of made him uncomfortable talking about it. You know, it was a big move. You know, it was to start doing these seminars in public and with his partner in business, and it's a big move, but it's the one thing that he's been putting off, which he knows is going to take him to his to where he wants to go in life. So what's the thing you've been putting off? Fucking do it. Do it. You know, if fear did not exist, what would you do differently? That's the thing that you need to do. If that's quitting your job, and if that's, you know, paying for the course, if that's getting a coach and finally getting in shape, if that's biting your girlfriend off who's a ball bag and doesn't serve you, if that's is it in here?
But not in here or in here. It's the third one.
Where that car went. You're a fantastic co-pilot, man. Woman drivers, like. I know. Oh, really?
And then just anywhere.
Okay, right. Well, any questions before I finish? Before I drop you off here?
I have loads.
Well, any other question you want to actually ask?
Well, I was gonna say, like, obviously that woman had said, like, oh,
Take them out.
obviously that woman had said, you know, oh, you could have had it all or whatever, but now you're going to become a PT. But I was going to say, like, obviously success is very different to everyone. Like, it's not the same as it is for you, for me, whatever. So, like, what is your definition of success? Like, what do you think success is?
Truthfully, it's being able to wake up and do what I want when I want on my terms. Knowing that I'm having a positive impact on the world, and that financially I'm able to experience everything that life has to offer. And that I can wake up and not dread my work on a Monday. I can look forward to it.
No Sunday scaries.
No Sunday scaries. That's success to me. And I think that's important. I think it's important to have an impact in the world. I think it's important to make as much money as you can to see everything that life has to offer. And again, I've said this before in so many podcasts. I don't know if it's a Northern Ireland thing or a British thing, that people shy away from wanting or talking about wanting to make money. I think it's crazy. I think it's absolutely mental. And obviously, like, from growing up in my family, like, my family grew up my parents grew up working class, but they made their life into something incredible because they're absolute grafters, they're workhorses. You know, they wouldn't say they're not academic at all, like, in the slightest. My dad could barely fucking read when he left school, and my mum wasn't incredibly academic, and they both built an incredible life for themselves. But they've made something of their life, and they've instilled those thoughts and those beliefs into us that, like, you can do anything and that you should work hard. You should be humble, but you should also make as much money as possible so you can see everything life has to offer, so that you have security for yourself. I think that's really important. So don't ever shy away from doing that. And I think you stretch yourself, push yourself. You know, if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, like, we're young. Like, this is the time to push. This is the time to make it happen. This is the time to see what you've got in the locker. And I think if you don't have these people around you, how can you surround yourself with guys that make you think bigger, guys that stretch your mind as to what's possible? It's like that event I went to at Vienna. I came back and I was like, fuck, I need to get moving, you know. And, like, I could even look at, you know, a certain circle, like certain circles around me, and I could think, fuck, I'm doing so well. But it's not enough. It's not enough. And you know, I need to think bigger, and there's more out there. And how can you surround yourself with those people? You know, I said that before. Who's living the life you want to live? How can you get close to them? How can you hire them, befriend them? How can you get close to them and learn from them, learn their thoughts, learn how they think, how they move, everything. You know, that's what I done. I changed my life. So yeah. Any other questions?
Well, like, do you think?
Did you get my Evian? No.
I did, but I didn't get. They didn't have it in the bottle you like. Where is it?
They like those particular bottles.
Where? I gave you it. Did I not?
No.
Did I throw your Evian in the bin? No, I did. I wouldn't have done that.
Right, ask me a question, go.
I was gonna say, do you think that then your idea of success has been formed by, like, your parents, or, like, what do you think has, like, informed your idea?
Yeah, so, like, I mean, I always say, like, my, like, not now, but down the line, success for me will be given my kids the life that my parents gave me. And if I don't, I'll see that as a failure. And you might look at that as toxic, but I look at that as fuel. And you use whatever fuel you have.
So do you think that, like, everyone's idea of success comes from like what they've seen from parents and stuff, or like what, like, do you think that that's like, there's like a lot of factors that would factor into that?
I think you need to. I think you're.
Because I feel like some people's idea of success would be like becoming a really big time accountant or like investment banker, and obviously those people don't have the freedom physically to go and do things because they're tied to annual leave and stuff. But like your idea is obviously like so it's like what you value.
Yeah, it's down to your values, and I think
Yeah.
your parents, I believe the people that you listen to in social media, most often, I believe that the people you surround yourself with, that like they add to you creating your worldview, and your worldview is obviously going to dictate what you want in life. You know, if you look up to somebody that values flexibility and freedom, or you listen to them all the time, like, so often, you know, there's a chance that either one, that you value that already and that's why you listen to them, or two, over time, that that'll be something you think about and you think, you know, I actually want more of that. So, you know, I think, I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's your life, and you get the decision of what kind of life that you want to create. And I think just because growing up, obviously my parents, they work for themselves. So for me, I always seen it like if I ever have a normal job, like it just never came into my mind. Like it just never entered my mind that a normal job was, or sorry, that like a job and having a boss, like a corporate job, was even a factor. It just didn't ever seem like it was ever going to be the case, because I didn't know any different. You know, whereas obviously some people, their families, maybe their parent is a doctor or a lawyer, or their parent is like, you know, an office worker, or just, you know, they work at a shop. That'll be their normal, unless they start surrounding themselves with other people that are living that different life. You know, it's like a lot of those guys that I would network with now, they maybe grew up and their parents had normal jobs, but they surround themselves with so many other entrepreneurs or so many other guys living a different life, and that became the worldview that they took on, because it was more appealing to them. So I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think it's, what kind of life do you want to live? How much money do you want to make? What kind of car do you want to have? What does your ideal day look like? And then you ask yourself, will this profession enable me to live that life? And if the answer is no, then no matter what happens, something will either have to change, or you will have to accept that you can't live your ideal life. And for me, this is not an option.
I have another observation.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll finish one last.
Well, no, I don't want to say it on camera. Just.
Okay.
I have another observation.
Okay. Alright, any last questions? Are we good? Hope you've enjoyed this, by the way. It's been different.
We're taking a recess.
We done? Okay, right, we're done. Okay, big
love
love.
You guys.
Let me know.
Bye.
You sound like you've had fucking -2 rain cells in here. Fucking Down syndrome over here. Anyway, big love. I will catch you in the next one. Go get them. Remember who you are.